send me a guest request.
Hi. Oh, so it's
Hey,
Beat
honey.
Forever.
Kids start off for the fun of it, but then expectations are laid out. So you're saying that like expectations are laid out by who? By the kids or by the coaches, by the parents, by the programs?
Maybe the
Who?
parents?
By the parents? What do you think about that?
That's what I would see it. Maybe.
Yeah. Can you elaborate?
Hmm. Well, I don't know. I think that a lot of people here, well, that I have noticed, or some people that I do know, they put a lot of pressure on the kids to become successful in whatsoever sports they put them in.
Mm-hmm.
Like they should be really good in football to go and join a club and become like famous and all these kinds of things. And that's a lot of pressure for a child. And then they are not allowed to quit when they want to.
Right. They're not allowed to quit when they want to. I feel like that's a constant like
Yeah.
pressure, but do you think that's a pressure that has more to do with the parent than that does the kid? Like how does that affect the kid's mind?
Yeah, I'm still thinking about that because I have never been pressured into doing anything in my life.
Right? Yeah. See, I mean, the same thing was for me, right? Like when I was a kid, yeah, I was trained to, to run. I was trained to play basketball. I was taught how to play
Yeah.
football. Like I was taught all of these things, but none of it was ever done by pressure, right? But
Yeah.
but I think like when you say expectations, like are we talking about when like after they start playing? Like do you put expectations on a kid that doesn't show potential?
No.
Hey Trish. Yeah, do you put like you don't put expectations on a kid that doesn't show potential, right? Like you don't sit there and go, you
No.
have to train at this sport even though they don't look like they like it or they, are any good at
How am I
it.
supposed to do this? 'Cause
Well,
I'm
stop
gonna be
showing
off.
No, I
boobies.
wouldn't do that.
Hold on, I'm gonna go off camera because I'm eating at the moment,
Okay.
and then I'll try to put something on so I don't get kicked off again.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so if you have an opinion on how can sports mold kids' minds, please feel free to jump in the box. I'm more than happy to hear your point of view on this. But yeah, like I was saying, like if I wasn't any good, would my parents have said, you know what, like let's teach her how to let's figure out how to get her a teacher to do this, right?
No, I don't think so. Yeah.
Yeah. But like how does that affect you mentally when you decide, as a kid, like you see all of these celebrity, athletes, right? And you're like, bro, like I want to be him. I want to be just like that. I want to hit these home runs or I want to bend
Yeah.
it like Beckham, right? Like, so how does that affect these
Mhm.
kids' minds? Minimum wage says, for example, I was doing a game where the pitcher was trying to pick off first base runner. What age was that? Hey Joe.
Hi, Joe. I'm here. I can hear you guys. I'm just eating.
Hi.
Yeah, that's fine.
And I'm sharing, but I'm here.
We are talking about how sports can mold the minds of kids. The coach was yelling at the right fielder to back up the throw at 12 and 13.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon,
Hi.
Nancy. How are you?
I'm okay. Thanks for the invite. You got me out of the bathroom. I was cleaning the tub.
We're actually discussing how sports can mold the minds of kids, and Coach was talking about an incident where he was doing a game and the pitcher was trying to pick off the first base runner, and the coach was yelling at the right fielder to back up the throw at the ages of 12 and 13, which he believes is totally impossible to do.
Wow.
Yeah, but how does that affect the mind of a kid?
Well, I'll tell you, I had 3 girls. Excuse me. And I'm sorry, I haven't gotten my teeth yet.
That's fine.
I just had 10 teeth pulled, and I'm like,
you're still beautiful.
So I'm not used to it. I'm still getting used to talking without teeth.
Yeah.
All 3 of my girls were in sports. I never pushed them into them. It was by their choice because their friends were in sports. And you get a kid in sports, and it really occupies them, keeps them out of trouble. But when the coach steps in and kind of demands that they do something instead of suggestion, suggesting that they make a play a certain way is different than you need to do it this way or you're off the team, threatening them.
Right.
I don't, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, it's, if a kid, you can teach them at an early age, teach them how, like in baseball, teach them how the right way to do things are.
Correct.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I've been to my grandson's baseball games, and, he had an awesome coach. He would pull the kids aside and say, instead of making a play like this, try it this way, and he was just awesome with the kids.
Yeah.
And I think it's the personality of the coach too.
It's really hard to find, right?
Yeah. Totally.
I feel like these days, the people who are volunteering to be coaches are either the parents that are living vicariously, or the parents that have high expectation, of my kid. Well, I saw my kid throw a good football, so he must be destined to be a great quarterback one day, in the NFL.
What? One good throw doesn't make a professional in the making,
I'm a very big believer that there's different levels of playing sports. That in kids, it's the level of dating, right? And that's what I think we forget about the whole kids sports aspect of it, is you're dating at that point. You're dating a sport, right? And when you're dating a sport, you're not blood, sweat, and tears for it. You're learning what it is that you love about that sport.
Right. And you're not born into it.
Right. You're learning the ins and outs, and you're trying to figure out, okay, so that's what happens when this happens, and that's what happens when that happens. And I think that,
and if you have a talent, if you have a talent for it, there you go. Right. But it's something that and I agree with you. So it's, I don't know, you can't push a kid. Right. They have to have an inward desire to do it too.
Right, exactly. But I feel like the only way we can get kids to actually want to do something like that is to teach them the ins and outs. Let them fall in love with the sport for what you fell in love with it for,
and respect it.
Just playing the game, right?
Yeah, and respect it too.
So what do you think that does, like when a coach is very aggressive like that, right? No matter the age. I mean, sports these days start from 4 years of age, right?
Right. Right.
So in this day, what do you think that does to a kid when the coach starts coming in on them?
It gives them a complex. It doesn't make them feel like they want to do it anymore. Who wants to be humiliated and, yelled at in front of a bunch of people? I think it's totally disrespectful,
Right.
You're either going to like the sport or you're not. But if you got somebody aggressive just pounding you and going, da da da, you're not going to want to do it anymore.
What do you think, Catherine?
Hold on.
Okay, minimum wage says it damages self-esteem.
I was going to say that. Yep, it does.
Yep. Totally. I totally agree with that. Self-esteem. Yeah. And that goes hand in hand with they don't want to do it anymore because who wants to be picked on?
Yeah.
No kid likes to be picked on.
I actually have an experience with that. So each one of my children have been involved in sports. I have my oldest daughter who just was a diehard soccer player. She did nothing else. And she actually ended up becoming a semi-pro soccer player. She's no longer involved in soccer. She's actually 8 months pregnant and I'm about to be a grandma.
Congrats.
My middle child was I want to put my hands in everything. She wanted to try it all. And we absolutely loved that about her. I said, you try what you like. And if you like it, then do it. If you don't, then don't. Right.
Right.
And then there was my son who, he was a big boy. He didn't want to do anything but sit on his butt and play video games. Right. But we told him, hey, listen, you have to move. So you're going to choose a sport, just like your sisters did. Choose one, figure out which one you like. Right.
Right.
He started with baseball and each one of my kids, and then he moved on to football. Each one of my kids have had different experiences. Right. My oldest had the coaches that were very motivating, or it was usually parents that did not want her to succeed because she was good, right? Because if she was good, and that meant their kid
shame on them for not encouraging.
Right, their kids.
That's not right at all.
That that playing time. So my kid needed to be pushed back, right? With my middle daughter, because she just loved everything. She was just a big ball of, energy and light and love. And she didn't care about losing and all that stuff until she got to a certain age. Once she fell in love with the sports that she was doing, then it was, darn it, I'm going to win these games. It was
competitive. It gets competitive with them.
Miss the ball,
Well, a lot of it too, they want to set goals for themselves.
Yes. And then my son, while he played baseball, he was actually pretty phenomenal. He's a right-handed kid who hit who hit balls left-handed.
Wow.
And, he was very strong. I mean, he could hit the ball like no problem whatsoever. But here's what happened. My son was hit by a machine pitch in the chest, right on the side of the mat, the catcher's gear. And it knocked him out. And then
my goodness.
The next 2 games later, he was running to first base and a kid went to go throw it and he was running with his head down and it hit him right in the back of the head, knocked him unconscious on first base. And
oh my goodness.
And he said, I'm not going to get hit by a ball again. He said, I'm done. You're not doing this to me again. And then we finally talked him into, you got to get over your fear. And when he got over his fear, my son has suffered with asthma all of his life. He was diagnosed chronic croup as a baby, a newborn.
Oh, wow.
Basically, allergies can kill my son. My son was running on a baseball field and running laps. I don't know why they were doing that with baseball players, but they were running laps and they were yelling at my son that he couldn't keep going and telling him that he was being a wimp and telling him that he was not, he needed to stop whining about his issues and needed to just keep going while he was starting to have an asthma attack.
Oh my God. We have a
Thankfully,
school here.
thankfully, there was another parent there that was able to say, you know what? No. Took him out of the situation, brought him home,
Oh,
and
good for
said,
them.
he's not going back. And I said, like, absolutely thankful. But each one
Yeah.
of those situations, each one of my kids' situations had a different outcome.
Right.
Mhm.
Right?
And they will.
Right. So in that aspect, where's the molding? Like what
Right.
happens to the mind of the kids?
Right. We have a school out here. Last year, we had a coach. He's fired now, but he was pushing so hard on these poor kids. One kid ended up just dropped because the weather was so hot and humid. The kid dropped. He ended up dying, unfortunately. And it's like this coach is like, you should not push these kids that hard, especially with some of this weather. You know,
Right.
they can't handle it. And the kid, he had asthma, and that's what happened. He couldn't breathe. His lungs kind of just,
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that that's actually pretty common. A kid passing away from dehydration during a summer sport.
Yeah, I have asthma.
But mentally, for the kids, like I get that the coaches can suck, but mentally for the kids, how does this affect them in the long run? Right? Like, you know, is there something positive that comes out of these situations for these kids?
You know what? I think it depends on the kid too. You know, I mean, if their parents instill self-confidence, you know, not to the point where they have a big head and they feel they can do anything, but I think it depends on the kid's psyche and how they handle a certain situation. You know, my oldest one, geez, oh Pete, I mean, I traveled all over the place with her. She did cross country, she did soccer, she did, you know, track and field. And then she went to college, and then she was in sports there. And I'm like, geez, oh Pete. And then we lived on a lake, so then she got into jet skiing like that. So she ended up doing a pro tour for jet ski racing. And that kid is like, I've been in the emergency room so many times with her, but she just kept going. And this was her, you know. She didn't want to give up. She just kept going and going and going. So I think it depends on the kid individually and their desire and how far they want to take it.
Right.
You know, without having somebody push.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So, but when you have a coach that wants to push them and they don't want to be pushed, some kids are in it just as a pastime. They're not that serious about it. They like the game. They want to play the game, but they're not gonna, make a career out of it.
You know what I mean? Gave me a flashback, Nancy. My daughter when she was playing club soccer. In our area for club soccer, it was a very rich area. And so a lot of the kids were basically put into the sport, like paid thousands of dollars to be in the sport.
Oh my God.
Just so that their kid had something to do, right? Like it was a babysitter, right? Meanwhile, my daughter had dreams and aspects for herself, right? My daughter wanted to go pro. She wanted to make the Olympic team. And so for her mentality was completely different. It was completely different.
Right.
And because of that, she struggled with that team because she was constantly angry that nobody was giving the same effort that she was.
Right.
But that's so true because, you know, some people, they go into it just thinking it's babysitting time, you know? It's active.
Keep them occupied.
Yeah.
You know, and the kids aren't going to take it serious when their parents are paying to play. You know, and they're like, they're just doing it for fun, you know. And then you have the kids that really get into the game. They're, you know, like my brothers were brought up hockey. Every winter, my dad would be out there making an ice skating rink in the backyard, you know. I'd have to play goalie. I got my teeth knocked out a few times. I'm like, no, I'm done. This is not my game.
Why did they do that, Nancy? Like, does that make you question why did they want to do that so badly? Because that takes work. right? In order
Yeah.
to accomplish
Yeah.
that. So why did
You
they
know,
want
I
to do
mean,
it so badly?
you know what? Because I think because my dad pushed them, pushed. Two of my brothers quit because they didn't like it. They were like, no, we're tired of getting hit with pucks and sticks. And it's like, no, you know. And then my one brother went on to play college, and play in college at University of Chicago, Illinois. And then he got picked up by the Blackhawks and played on their farm team for a while.
Wow.
And then he quit. He didn't like it,
Right.
So, I mean, I just think it depends on how far the kid wants to take it, too.
Right.
But when your parents are pushing the kids to get into it, then they lose the desire to want to do it,
Right. Yeah.
But my one brother did it because he thought he'd get closer to my dad and, get in good with my dad. And it's like, no, you can't. That's not the right reason to do it either, you know?
So from your opinion, guys, and this is for all of you, what do you think are the long-term effects mentally for kids? Or benefits, I should say.
Well, some kids, when they're being forced like that, like being pushed into sports, they get to the point where they have a problem. Like if they don't do the sport or do it the right way that the coach or the parent wants them to do it, they feel like they're letting them down.
Yes.
Feel like they're being a disappointment to the person.
Right.
So now they, in their mind, they don't want to disappoint nobody. So everything will have to be perfect so they don't disappoint anybody.
Okay, but what are the
and then they develop OCD.
Like what I asked, what are the benefits?
It depends on the individual, I think. If you have a kid that's striving to compete and they like what they're doing, then they're going to go on in life and do some great things, where if you have a kid that pushes, they're going to lose their drive to want to do anything.
Right.
I think.
Minimum wage says that they learn how to work as a team.
Yep.
Do you agree with that, guys?
Yes.
I do, because I'll tell you, my daughter right now, her occupation, she got her master's from Purdue, and now she is the CEO. She's Parks and Rec director, and she oversees like 270 people, and she's a great team player, and everybody loves her because of her attitude in life.
Right.
So, and she played sports all of her life and never was pushed in any of them, and it was her own wanting to do that. And I think it builds confidence. It builds
still self-esteem.
Your self-esteem. Yeah, self-esteem. Yeah. And the ability to interact with other people.
And if you're into it, it helps, determination. If they're really focused. And when things come up, if they have determination for something, they're going to be strong-minded about it to get there.
Right.
Exactly. I agree.
How does that look in the long run? When the kid gets into high school or college or even life, right? Like, how does that look in the long run?
Well, I'll tell you, I got pushed, and I didn't do jack shit with I went in the Marine Corps, because it's like,
Nancy,
what else am I gonna do? But being older, I mean, I just turned 69, and I'm like, if I hadn't done that, I wouldn't get my benefits, my medical, my prescriptions. I mean, it was a plus doing that for myself, and I didn't realize it at the time. I just figured, screw it, I'm going in the service, and to hell with y'all, because I'm not doing what you want me to do.
So for you, it didn't have a long-term effect.
Yeah.
Right. Catherine, what do you think?
Well, it plays in a long-term effect how it can help them.
Right.
Like, let's say if they decide to run a business, they want their business to bloom. They want it to spread. And that's where the determination comes in. And that's where the strength and the ability to get it done.
Right.
working with people, because you're going to work with contractors. You're going to work, like you said, working with others, working as a team, because it's going to take a team for all that. Right. So that helps build your career. That helps build your, building a family. That's teamwork with a partner. It's just, it helps with teamwork, determination to build and go, for your career, the rest of your life, and what you want your life to be.
What about learning to play fair?
That can help too. I mean, you got playing fair. I mean, it happens in the game, or so it happens in life, and sometimes it doesn't. So, it can. Go ahead.
Yeah. I'm just basing this on what I've seen when my kids were in sports. You had these parents that are like, I don't care, just hit them with the ball and take them out, and that way you can get to the. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me with this shit? You're telling your 12-year-old to hit somebody with a ball so he's out of the game and gives you a better chance? Wow. Blew my mind.
Just so they can make it to the playoffs or something like that. Do what you need to do.
Flashbacks.
I'm like, oh my God.
I was actually one time cheering on my daughter, and I was getting ready to yell, cut her off and take the ball. And instead, because I was so, the sentence was too long, instead I yelled, cut her. And I went, because by the time I had already gotten to cut her, she had already cut her off, taken the ball. And I was like, cut her. And I went,
where do you live, by San Quentin or what? Holy crap.
I didn't mean that.
Cut the bitch.
After that, I tend
wow.
to hold my tongue, not really say much other than good job, good ball, good,
Right. But, oh my goodness. Cutter.
Here's another question.
Keep that in mind when you play Family Feud. Cutter.
Right, exactly. Minimum wage says, well, it helps them work with others that they wouldn't normally associate with.
True.
You know what? I completely agree. I feel like even though we don't mean to do it, we give boundaries to our kids on who they can communicate with and, what people are like outside, right? I don't think a lot of us do it on purpose. I think it's just, stuff that comes in from our past or our family's past. And we tend to open our mouths.
We're spectators too.
Right.
We're spectators in our kids' lives.
Right. But on that aspect, what I'm saying is that, a team is never going to be just one talent, one race, one denomination. You're going to meet different walks of life from one team. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think that totally goes with what minimum wage is saying. Like, you associate with people that you wouldn't normally have associated with.
Do you think that has something to do with being prejudiced? Like you're prejudiced against personality?
Right. You have this assumption of certain type of people, right? Like we have in my area, it's called, we have Newport Beach, right? They're Newporters. That's what they do in our area, because the Newporters are usually rich people in the eyes of people in Costa Mesa or in the city of Orange County, in the area of Orange County. The Newporters have the money and they don't really care, right?
I'm in Michigan. We all poor bitches.
Right. You're so cute. But what I'm saying is, that was the area that my daughter played. And because of that, she actually got to meet these Newporters and loved them, right? And it totally gives you the open door to be able to associate with people that you normally wouldn't associate with. Right. And how does that affect you also, like when you get older?
See, I don't know. Being in the military, well, first of all, I grew up in the country. We didn't have a whole lot of, when I was growing up, we didn't have a whole lot of diversity in school. Like your ethnic groups and whatnot. So it's like we weren't exposed to that until I got in the military, and then I got to learn all these different ethnic groups, and I had a lot. I still do. I have a ton of friends that are from all different walks of life. I brought my kids up that way.
Right.
Not to be, you want to be prejudiced against their personality, not because of what what group they represent,
Right.
And my kids, I have a daughter that's married to a Puerto Rican who's awesome to her. My other daughter is married to a black guy who's awesome to her. I have biracial grandchildren. My oldest one's married to another woman. And I'm like,
it is what it is.
It is what it is. And I love every one of them. And there's nothing I would change about them. I mean, nothing I would change.
It also carries into like the workplace, right? Like,
right. And I think that helps. That diversity helps you, get along with other people, and you're not going to close your eyes to one person because of their ethnicity. You're not going to well, I can't hire you because whatever. That's bullshit. You hire for, for their capabilities, for their experience, it's just, I don't know. I think there's just too many people that are so closed-minded anymore. It's like, come on, get with the program.
Right.
It's today. You've got gays, straights, bisexuals, transsexuals, I mean, there's just so much diversity in the world nowadays.
That's another subject, Nancy. That is an entire...
I'm sorry, I'm getting off track.
That's a completely...
I know, that's why I just said I'm getting off track here. I'm sorry.
That's a whole nother... Yeah, that's a whole
I went down that road, but I went down that road.
Right? Why are you...
I didn't mean to go down that path.
Catherine, why are you always hiding your beautiful face? I just want to check the comments really quick because I know I'm really bad at reading them because I don't wear my glasses.
The subject is supposed to be.
Yeah. But okay, so here's the question: can the sports bring families closer? Can you be closer because of sports?
If it's like a family thing.
Hang on a second, I have to answer.
That's like if dad played the sport when he was back in high school, and then his first son did it, and then the second son, or, if it's like a family thing, then yeah, it could. But if it's like one person, because not all families get into sports, they just really don't care for sports. But then they have one kid, they have a kid that's like really into sports, and they're like, oh, you're going to go to all the games. But then they're like, well, we never really got into sports. We don't really want to go sit and watch a game. Right. So then it can be the family won't go. So then the kid is in the sport. Then there's no support on the kid's side. So if it's in the family, it brings them together. If it's not in the family, it won't.
What do you think?
I was just going to ask that. I was just going to say, do you think it has something to do with the generation?
Right.
A generational thing.
Minimum wage says if they are supporting, absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. If a parent is supportive of the kids. Mommy. Yeah.
Right.
The reason why I ask that is because, I think about when my girls were playing soccer for AYSO, right? In AYSO, the parents have to volunteer. They have to volunteer as a referee. They have to volunteer as a team mom. They have to volunteer to bring snacks. They have to be at the practices. They're not allowed to leave them alone, right? And so during these sports activities, I've been the team mom. I never did the reffing because I don't think I would have been able to keep my mouth shut if somebody yelled at me. So I never did the reffing. But being there and supporting your kids and, cheering for them when something happens, or being the one that brings the snacks and, getting to know everyone around you, does that make your family stronger? Does that bring your family together?
Yes.
I think it does. Because you work more as a unit. I hate
Catherine?
having no teeth. I can't fucking talk.
Yes, you can. And you're beautiful. Stop it. Get out of your mind. Don't let the enemy win.
Look, it looks like a turtle.
You know what it looks like? It looks beautiful. It looks beautiful. Can everybody do me a favor and put in the text right now? Nancy, you are beautiful just the way you are.
Oh, no, don't do that. No, don't.
Just everybody just flood the comments right now. Okay, listen.
No.
So, Catherine, do you think that brings families together?
Whoa.
I'm sorry. I walked away for a moment. I gotta put this.
Catherine, my lead moderator, you guys, walked away from the comments.
Oh,
I'm
thank you, Trish. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Do you think that a situation like I described, do you think that can bring a family closer together?
I do.
My love, I had walked away. I was putting the twins down for a nap, so I did not hear anything you said.
Oh, your twins. Awesome. There's 2 sets of twins in my family. My nieces are twins, and my nephew, I had twin nephews too.
What was your question, hon?
So I was saying how, when my girls were playing soccer, or, at a younger age, you had to volunteer to be a referee. You had to volunteer to be a team mom. You had to volunteer for snacks. You had to be there and involved with your kids, right? So do you think
thanks, Allie.
Would bring families closer together?
Thank you.
Yeah, everyone's involved.
So how would that affect a kid mentally?
Thank you, sweet sweat and
support. Everyone being involved in something or surrounding what they're doing shows support. So then that will motivate them because they have that support.
Right. So mentally, basically, yes, it brings the family closer together, right?
Yes.
And so mentally, for an athlete, it teaches them how important it is to be supportive and be supported. I think that a lot of the times that as parents or as coaches or whatever the situation, aunts, uncles, brothers, sisters, cousins, it doesn't matter. If you see a passion in a child in your life, support them by being involved, support them by being there, because then it shows kids. To me, what I'm asking, and I think I was trying to kind of lead you guys there, but what I see when it comes to situations like that is that a lot of kids, I've seen a lot of children over my years, up to teenage years, whose parents aren't there.
Thank you, Kay Martin.
The mom had to work, right? So, and there was no one else, or my mom's boyfriend, couldn't be here today and it broke my heart. Or dad, had to be at the office today. And I've seen multiple kids just completely heartbroken about the fact that, someone was not there to support them. And, which is how I actually became Mama Oso, because I became a mother figure for those that didn't have that in their lives. And for the ones that did, I became the nail in the coffin so that they understood what mom and dad were saying. Do you know what I'm saying? Mentally for kids.
I know exactly what you're saying.
Yes. Okay, go ahead, Nancy.
I know exactly what you're saying because my mom passed away when I was 9 years old.
Yes.
And my biological, I call them sperm donors because I had never had anything to do with them.
Right.
But my neighbor always stepped in as a mother figure for me.
Right.
And I think that's important to a kid too. If they don't have that parental support, it's so awesome to have somebody else step in and support you. That can be that parental figure.
Right.
So, yeah.
Does anybody else want to touch on that?
Well, when I was coaching my daughter, my husband and I were coaching our daughter's soccer league. We did have a lot of kids that just got dropped off and their parents would go do something else or whatever.
Right.
And that was to me was really hard to grasp as far as why the parents did that.
Right.
And now it's like I sit back and look and I'm like, yeah, I really touched all those kids by being there for them and teaching them how to play soccer, and they enjoyed it.
Right.
And you know what, Chris? They're going to remember that.
They will remember.
They're going to remember that, and that memory they're going to instill on their own kids and other kids. I'm sorry.
That was the best
right
years of my life.
What you just said, Nancy, right there. That is the outcome for a kid's mentality, right? Is I think we forget a lot that sometimes we are just the seed planter, right? And when you plant those seeds, the more that they're watered, they're going to grow, and it's just going to extend, right? Catherine, do you have an opinion on that?
I'm kind of currently in one of those situations where there's a kid that usually gets dropped off.
Mm-hmm.
So
can I say something real quick?
Go ahead.
I don't mean to interrupt, but I'm like, I'm not used to this, getting on in a room. Yeah. But I just want to tell everybody that's making comments, anybody that starts tagging me to follow me, I will catch up with you after the live here. And I really, really appreciate all the followers. Okay, I just wanted to acknowledge that. So I'm sorry.
That's fine. Thank you. Go ahead, Catherine.
So, my friends, my sisters, they were friends with another person before we all met in high school. And then eventually things left, and then no longer really close with that person, but that person was pregnant at the time. And then when she had the baby, my other friend became the godmother of him. Mm-hmm. So now he's 14 now, and we've known him since he was a baby. So his mom, he plays soccer, he'll play basketball, and she would drop him off. So me and my sisters and my son, we all would show up to support him because she would drop him off and go back home, sleep or whatever. And then either my sisters, they would end up dropping him off, but we show up to every game. And so just when he looks into the crowd and he sees us, he's automatically got a smile on his face.
Right.
Because he knows their support. He knows their support. And there were some kids on the team, you would see them looking in the bench and he'd be like, oh, well, he was looking for his mom or his dad and they wasn't. Mm-hmm. You see
so sad.
You see the disappointment, the sadness on their face.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so
we just had to encourage them to try harder.
Right, because then they're not into the game, and then next you know they're making bad throws or making and next you know they want to sit on the bench. Right, so the support goes so far for a child.
Right,
it affects their motivation.
Not related, even if they're not related to you. Definitely, if they're not related to you,
right?
And
Sweeten says, yes, supporting is all I wish my mother could have done for me. I never had it, and break the evil cycle. Minimum Wage says that's exactly what happened to me, so I walked away from sports. Everyone is beautiful on this live. It's very sweet of you. Agreed big time, so nice input. I'm myself always there for all of my 7 kids now. Every sport, yes, break the evil cycle. I completely agree.
7 kids.
7 kids. You are.
You are patient. Yeah.
About you. 3 kids.
Remember that answer in Family Feud.
Wow. I don't know. A lot of you guys probably do know, but my husband, soon to be ex-husband, is a former high school football coach. And because of his high school football coaching, I was able to get to know a lot of football players. And one of the things that, would happen is that they wouldn't have a mom and dad there. I I think that a lot of people forget that, and I know minimum wage hasn't forgotten, but coaches do have a lot of effect on the mentality of these kids. One of the cool things that my husband did was, most coaches don't do this, which I think is pretty interesting. But per my suggestion, my husband started doing teacher meetings for coaching football. So whenever he brought in the parents, when he would do his meetings, he would let them know how important it was to show up, how important it was to be there. That even though your kids will tell you it's okay, what they really are doing is watching to see if you showed up for them on your own. It's not that they really don't care. It's that they want you there. Right?
Right.
How does that affect these kids mentally in the long term?
It scars them for life, I think.
Mm-hmm.
If
I didn't have anybody there, when you don't have that support, I think it hurts your self-esteem and your inside your ability to really do anything, because who's there to be your cheerleader? You could have the greatest success in life, and if you don't have any support from anybody, I think it really damages your self-esteem, and it doesn't make you feel you're worth anything. I think it hurts your self-worth.
Minimum wage says, I was constantly told that I had potential by teachers and coaches, but never heard it from home. So no effect.
Right.
Same. Same way here.
Home support hits a lot different and harder than outside support in certain situations.
Yep.
You can hear it constantly. Oh, I see you I can see the best in you. I can see you going far. I see a clear future for you, the best future possible. But if you're not getting it at home, it doesn't really take a toll on you. You don't really believe it, especially if you don't hear it from like your parents. Because those are the people, a lot of kids are like, they want to make sure they're proud of them. Right. So if they're hearing it from them, it's not gonna, sorry. Teachers, they're going to be like, yeah, whatever. They're going to brush it off.
Right.
Right.
Well, we are just talking about some people, right? Because not everybody has that same experience, right?
Right.
I know.
I had step parents that were evil step parents, and I didn't have that support. In fact, I was like Cinderella. I had to do all the work and all the, it's like I got in trouble for what my brothers did, and it's like, I got kicked out when I was 16. I was homeless at 16. I didn't have your typical lifestyle like a normal kid would, but I did okay, it made me stronger.
Nancy, do you think that the sports had any effect on the way that you, made decisions or choices in your life?
I think so, because I did have the support of teachers, coaches, other students. I had that outside support.
Right.
Right. So
yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. Like, so football players, there was a lot of them. And I still have contact today where, they call me up. Hey, mama, coming over. Just want to chat. And so these kids, like, the conversation has never stopped for me with them. So I know for a fact that you can affect these kids not being the mom at home. Right.
Right. Right.
Can affect these
and
kids
I think
by not being.
I think it's more important for the kid too. Because they look for that support from their parent, but when they have an outside source supporting them, that is a totally different feeling for the kid. They're like, wow, I think it's more uplifting, because you would expect your parents to support you. But when you have that outside support, you have a totally different mindset. You're like, and I think it drives you a little bit more.
Right.
Yeah. Motivated. That's it. Motivated. So,
I had no support at all Sweeten says bullying in school and no support at home. Sport was the only time that I had need.
Absolutely. I'll adopt you. I'll get you. I'll give you support, not financially, but I can support you.
Coming to TikTok. I love you, Jen. You're so sweet. But no, okay, so let's take it to a different direction for a second, because we are talking about the mentality of kids, right? Like how. Hold on one second.
Right, I got to leave in 2 minutes, but I just got to run to the store real quick.
Okay.
Coach, so but I'll be back. I'll let you know when I get back. All right.
Okay, love.
All right, I'm gonna go so I can run to the store and get back.
Thank you.
So I'll see you in a few minutes.
Okay, love.
All right. Bye, beautiful people.
Bye, Nancy.
Coach.
Hey, how are you?
You said this is your topic.
It is, but here's the problem. I'm at work right now, so I'm just stopping in to say it's wonderful that you're having this conversation. As a coach myself, ages 8 through 14, multiple sports, it's definitely a conversation that's great to hear and great to hear people talking about, because we do a lot with the kids, and it's a team effort when it comes to raising a child. It's not just what happens at home, it's what happens outside the home. And it's glad to hear that people recognize
there
that.
There it is, Coach. You know? Really quick, can you tell me what you think the benefits of coaching these kids is for their mentality? Like really quick.
All right, well, first of all, my approach on coaching sports is it isn't even about the sports that we're playing. That's just debate to get them in, to get them off the street and get them doing positive things in their life, and have somebody else that they could turn to when things are bad, because not every kid is comfortable going to their parents because they think they're going to get in trouble, they're going to get a whooping, something like that. So now we make them feel comfortable that you have somebody else that you could go to when other things are going on in your life, whether it be you got kids approaching you that you want to join gangs, or telling you to try drugs, or hanging out on the streets at night, and they can't tell their parents these things. So we're there for that. And then we communicate a lot behind the scenes with the parents, and it's a team effort, and so many parents appreciate for that. But it's also a shame how many parents out there don't give a shit about the kids, and they use us as a daycare system so they could go out with their friends at night.
Exactly.
But I'm okay with that. Because I still feel I could go to bed at night knowing that I'm doing something good for these kids.
Right.
I didn't give a shit. I didn't care about what happened on the field. I coached football, baseball, and basketball, and we took them on field trips. I started a nonprofit organization in my town because the city always said they had no money for us, and all these coaches were all volunteer. Volunteer. Nobody's getting paid. And they wouldn't give us nothing. Like, the city budgets were terrible to work with. So we got nonprofits going and everything. And these kids, put it this way, it's selfish of me too, because it is very rewarding for the coach too.
Of course.
You can't save every kid, but one of my favorite stories is I had a lady come up to me at practice one time asking me about the program. She was just there watching her nephew practice football, but she has 2 twin boys at home that never played any sports, but they're getting in trouble, their grades are bad, everything, right? I said, bring them down. Bring them to practice. I'll make sure that they're comfortable. I don't care if they never step foot on the field. They could just hang out with me. I'll make them my assistant coach. They could just hang out and play around and just be around other kids and this and that. So she brought them down. I was their first football coach. These kids 2 months ago got full scholarship offers to Syracuse University on a football scholarship.
Wow.
So those are the rewarding things for me. But now there's other stories where I see kids on the news that I coached, went to jail, got shot, got arrested for dealing drugs. So you can't win them all, but the one kid that you can help makes it all worth it. It makes it all worth
Coach,
it.
When my husband was coaching football, he was actually asked, you won't believe me, but he was actually fired for being a player's coach. For those of you that don't know what that means that you were more of an advocate for the players than you were for winning a game. And when he was asked, what is your motto for your team? He told them, it's the Bible verse where it says, if one sheep wanders, right? I will go for that. I will leave the 99 and I will go for that one sheep. And what you just said, Coach, right there, like that nails it. Like that's.
Trust me, it's a struggle though, because what you're saying, not every coach has the mentality that I had, and I was the new guy coming in when I came in. You know, a lot of coaches in youth sports, they're out there trying to live their dream, things that they couldn't do when they were a child, and they're using your kid to make that happen. And they don't always have the kid's best interests at heart, and they want to win. So this way they could show like a jacket off to their friends. Look, championship, head coach, championship. I didn't care about any of that. All I cared about, like my work, my mentality I had with the kids at practice. I don't care if we lose every game, as long as when you went on the field you tried, and that's it. Right. As long as you tried to win, you're good. You're good. It doesn't matter what the outcome is. You know, so this way they were prepared for that, because we're not going to win every game every year. And they're at a young age, so hurt and lose. Like, they cry. You know, they cry if they lose and stuff. But I'm happy when they cry, because that means that they wanted to win.
They care.
Yep. They care. Yep.
So that's all that mattered to me. I hated the trophy dinners at the end of the year, and you got to pick most valuable player and all this and that. You know, because now, say you got 25 kids on a football team, right? Right. And you got to pick a 9-year-old kid to say he's the most valuable player. I don't look at it as you're telling one kid he's great. You're looking at it, you're telling 24 other kids they weren't good enough.
Exactly.
Right, exactly.
You know, so I was always against all that stuff, but I used to lose that battle, to be honest with you. You know, because whatever. But the main thing is, when it comes to youth sports, you have to appreciate the coaches. Not just sports, you have to appreciate the teachers. I mean, I have 3 kids, right? Teachers and coaches spent more time with my kids than I have. Yep. So who they are, like, I have one that's going to be a senior in high school right now. The other 2 are already out of high school and moving on. Now, who they become as adults, a lot of that goes credit to the teachers and the coaches that they came across in their life, not just me and their mom. Right. You know, so they need to be respected for that. And some parents understand and some parents don't.
What do you think is going to be the long-term benefits for mentally for these players that you've had an effect on?
Wow. It's basically, all right, so you're teaching them life lessons and they don't even know it as you're coaching them, right? Mm-hmm. And so as they get older, they're going to come across certain situations in their life where they have to make a decision. And there might be something you said to them, or something you did, or something you taught them during football practice, baseball practice, that might not have anything to do with that decision they have to make 20 years later, but they might have a memory of something you said. And that will help them make the right decision. Because life is choices, right? Every day when we wake up, the direction that we go is about what choice we make for every situation we come across in life. So you have to make the right choice. That's the goal. Make the right choice every time you made it, but it's not always going to be the right choice, you know? So then you got to learn how to overcome that. As long as the wrong choice don't kill you, you can recover from it.
Yeah, we'll only make you stronger.
Yeah. It's like a slingshot, right? The further you pull back, the further it's going to fly. So in life, the more somebody tries to pull you back or you make the wrong choices, that's just going to make you stronger. And when you get to your goal, it's going to go even further.
Coach, I'm so thankful that you came on here to come and talk to us for a minute. You actually are able to close out our show with probably the wisest words that I've heard on here so far. Thank you for that, for your time.
No, thank you for having me. Yeah. I really didn't have the time, but I'm on a break at work and I'm swiping through TikTok and I heard you talking.
Thank you.
And that was so nice.
I couldn't resist. Like my anxiety started. Wait, they're talking about coaching and kids. I gotta go on.
I get it, Coach. Hey, everybody, I just wanted to say really quickly, if everybody can make sure that you're following everyone that's in these boxes and make sure that you let them know that you enjoyed their words today. What I grasped from all of this is that sports can help develop kids physical skills. It can get them exercise. They can have friends. They can have fun. They can learn teamwork. They can learn how to play fair. And they can also learn how to be self-esteemed. I'm actually, thank you so much for you guys like coming on and sharing all of your stories and everything with me. Tomorrow we're going to be talking about balanced family and self-care, and I hope you guys can be here. Thank you guys. Don't forget, follow all these people because trust me, you won't regret it. Thanks, guys.
I promise I'll follow everybody back. I don't have time to click right now. I got to get back to work. But anybody who follows me, I will follow back when I get out of work.
Absolutely, Coach. Thank you so much for coming on.
No problem. Have a
good day.
I will be back after No Faces Live for just to hang out. So I will see you guys later, okay? Love you guys.
All right.
Bye.
I can't do a heart, but yeah.